So we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Dr. Deanna Kate. I am the director for undergraduate student programs at Virginia Tech, and I work at the Center for the Enhancement of Engineering Diversity within the College of Engineering. And today we are going to discuss the Galileo and Hypatia living learning communities, and then also the CEED peer mentoring program. We're going to give an overview of those three programs. And then we also have a group of current student leaders who are going to tell you a little bit more about themselves and then answer any of the questions that you might have. Okay, so a little bit about CEED. CEED was actually founded back in 1992 as the Office of Minority Engineering Programs. It was started by Dr. Beverly Watford, who was actually a undergraduate student here in the early 80s and graduated with a degree in mining engineering. And then she received both her master's and PhD at Virginia Tech within the College of Engineering as well. And so she decided to go off into the world and get a job teaching, and then decided to come back to Virginia Tech in 1992 to start the Office of Minority Engineering Programs, which now is the Center for the Enhancement of Engineering Diversity. And one of the biggest things that we do here at CEED is we try to increase the numbers of underrepresented minority students and underserved students earning degrees within the College of Engineering at Virginia Tech. And a lot of our programs are targeted for African Americans, women, Hispanic, Latinx, first gen college students, and then also transfer students. But although we target those special groups of students, we also service all students within the College of Engineering. So all of the programs that we have here within CEED serve all students within the College of Engineering. One of the biggest programs that we have that's coming up in the summer is actually the Step to the Summer Bridge program. And that's a 5-week program that starts, I believe, sometime at the end of June, and is there to help bridge that gap between high school and college. So we work with students to get them more acclimated to what university life is going to be. They take chemistry, intro to engineering, and then also a math class. And this is to help them develop academically. And the best part about these programs, or this program, is that although you're taking the class, it does not hurt your GPA or anything when you're coming into Virginia Tech, because you take the class without it going for credit. And so that kind of gets you acclimated to the university and the classes that the students will be taking in the summertime. And then also through that STEP program, we have the professional development opportunities that happen. We do programming and things every week with the students to help them develop into leaders and to help them with their interview skills and things like that. And so this is an opportunity for any student who has accepted their offer into Virginia Tech to take part into something in the fall, before the fall semester begins. And so some other undergraduate programs that we have, as I stated before, the first two are the Galileo and Hypatia Live and Learning Communities. And Hypatia is for women, Galileo is for men, respectively. And they were each founded in 2001 and 2005, respectively. Sorry. And so with these live and learning communities, what we do is try to make sure that the students come in to the university, into this large institution, and have a smaller community that they could feel more comfortable with, right? So we have over 30,000 students at Virginia Tech, and we want to make sure that students who are coming from smaller areas, smaller high schools, and even if you're coming from a bigger place and you want that community feel, that's what the live and learning communities are for. Each student in Galileo or Hypatia will take a fall seminar class. And those topics that are held in those classes include personal growth, professional development, and then also academic resources, among a bunch of other things. And we also try to make sure that the students have different events throughout the semester, or actually throughout the year, so that they get more acclimated to the university. So we have professional development opportunities with different companies who want to connect with our first year students. We also have academic, social, service learning, and then also the faculty connections and things throughout the year. And all Galileo and Hypatia students also receive a peer mentor. And that peer mentor was also a first year student within Galileo and Hypatia during their freshman year. And so they have the opportunity to be able to get you more acclimated to the university and tell you some of the do's and don'ts within the community, things that you want to do. And they actually assist with the programming as well. So all of the events that take place within Galileo and Hypatia for the first year students are actually not only run by the first year students, but they are the sophomore students. They actually help to develop and facilitate those programs as well. And the application for Galileo and Hypatia is currently open. We are looking to have around 400 Galileo students this year, and then around 300 Hypatia students for this upcoming fall. So we're about halfway to that mark right now. And also with the upper class leaders, the students who are facilitating those academic and social events and things, they actually do stay in Hogue Hall as well with you all. So that's a good opportunity for you to not only be able to have a peer mentor and have students who have gone through the same thing with you that you're currently going through, but they actually live there with you, so you have easy access to be able to walk to someone else's room and get assistance with something. And all students within Galileo and Hypatia also live in Hogue Hall. And inside of Hogue Hall, we actually have our own design space, and that's called the Invent Studio. So that is accessible for only students within Galileo and Hypatia. And here are a few pictures of some of the things that we have in the studio right now. We have several 3D printers. We have soldering equipment. We have a CNC machines. We have power tools. We also have 2 laser cutters and a whole host of other things that you can do. So we always tell students that if you're interested in making something and you just want to have fun, or you have something in your head that you want to design, you can always come to the Invent Studio in Hogue Hall to print out anything that you want, to create something, to give gifts or make gifts for like Christmas and all of that stuff for your family back home. So we have a lot of things that are happening in the studio on a regular basis. And for the CEED Peer Mentoring Program, this was actually one of the first programs that CEED put on back in 1992. And essentially, this is a program for students who are not in Galileo and Hypatia, who want to still have that connection, still have a mentor throughout their first year in the College of Engineering at Virginia Tech. And each student is able to choose between 4 different sections of the program. So we have BEST, which is Black Engineering Support Teams. We have WEST, Women in Engineering Support Teams. We have AORTA, which is the Academic Hispanic Outreach Alliance. And then we have GUEST, which is the General Engineering Support Team. So we have 4 different options for students. If you want to be with a group of students within a certain identity, or whether you want to do that, or you just want to be assigned just randomly into a group, we have that option for you all as well. And the great thing about this is that we also have upper class leaders who are, or upper class team members who are actually previously have served as mentees. Most of them have. And this is an opportunity for you all to meet throughout the first 10 weeks of the semester, and you're able to go out to eat on us twice in the semester outside of the campus food. And then also you have different social opportunities for you all as well. And you have the opportunity to just meet new people on campus and create that friend group within the university as well. This one does not require you to live on campus in a specific residence hall. You can live anywhere on campus. Each group of people has 1 mentor, and then also up to 10 first year students that will be paired together. The applications for this particular group is not open until June, but all of the information will be sent out to everyone at the end of May, beginning of June, so that everyone can begin to register for these 2 programs if you are interested. All right. So lastly, this is just a picture of our team just so you can know who we are. As you can see, we're all different shapes and sizes and come from different walks of life, and we are looking forward to having this new group of first year students come into Virginia Tech in the fall. So at this time, what we are going to do is have our student leaders to introduce yourself, tell what year you are and your current position, and also what your major is and why you decided to come back or to stay on as a member of the CEED team, whether it be CEED Peer Mentoring or Galileo and Hypatia. All right, so I will go ahead and I'll call you all out as I see you on my screen. So the first person that I see is Colby. If you want to go ahead.
Yeah, hey, I'm Colby Rosser. I'm a junior in industrial systems engineering, currently a peer leader, which is on the CEED peer mentoring side. And I decided to come back as a peer leader is above a peer mentor, as we had mentioned before that, just to clarify. But I decided to come back just because I think it's such a beneficial program. I was a mentee; it really benefited me my first 10 weeks. Just really kind of, I was able to set me straight on a lot of things I didn't know. So it was really a good way of pour back into the program.
Okay, thank you so much, Kobe. And then we have Aswaria. Okay.
Hi, I'm Ashwarya. I'm a sophomore in computer engineering, and I'm currently an upper class leader in Hogue as well as a mentor. I honestly decided to come back because I had a really great mentor, and she really inspired me to, connect with younger people. And I'm staying on next year as well as a GLT member, and I think I just found the community really beneficial, and I really want to make my mark in it.
Thank you, Ashwarya. And then Emily.
Hi guys, I'm Emily. I'm a senior in industrial systems engineering, and I'm a peer leader, also on the peer mentoring side. And I decided to come back mainly because of the community that I kind of feel within CEED. I feel like I've made a lot of friends through this program, and I would do anything to give as much as I can back to it.
Thank you so much. Bud.
Hi, I'm Bud, and I am a sophomore in civil engineering. I'm currently a mentor and upper class leader in the Galileo side of CEED, and I decided to come back as a GLT because I honestly really enjoy the community, and I would love to come back and still stay in the community.
Okay, thank you. Shania.
Hi, I'm Shania. I'm a junior in chemical engineering. I'm a currently a peer leader. I just found the program to be very beneficial. I made great connections. CEED as a whole is just very great. I was actually in Hypatia as a mentee my freshman year, and I decided to stay in the program in the CEED peer mentoring just because I wanted to explore other things and make other connections.
Okay, thank you. Albert.
Hello, I'm Albert Isia. I'm currently a junior in computer engineering with a minor in computer science. I am currently the communications committee liaison, so I'm a GLT. And the reason why I stayed in the community was because I really enjoy the community. As a first generation student, and basically as my first time coming to college and even being in the United States, I found the program to be really helpful. So I decided to come back again so I could help other people who are in the same situation as me. And I just found it really enjoyable. I found some of my greatest friends over here, some of my best friends in this community. And I just love the community. So I just decided to come back.
Okay, thank you, Albert. And then last but not least, Sydney.
Hi, so my name is Sydney. I'm a senior in mechanical engineering. I'm a mentor liaison, so I'm on the Galileo side of things. I'm a mentor to the mentors. And I decided to stay in the community because I have made so many friends through CEED, and the community as a whole is just so welcoming and beneficial. And that is why I decided to stay.
Okay, thank you all so much. What I will go ahead and ask all of the panelists is, what is one reason that you believe that a student should join either the CEED Peer Mentoring Program or the Galileo or Hypatia? And I know that some of you kind of talked about it initially, but if you can elaborate a little bit.
I was just going to say, I think that it's a great way to get exposed to a lot of the opportunities that Virginia Tech has, even outside of engineering. So I know as a freshman, like me coming in, like I had no idea even half the stuff existed through Virginia Tech. And I feel like CEED really opened my eyes to a lot of that. So that was definitely one thing for me as personal experience. It's just knowing what's out there was a big part of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, when you come to college, that transition, I mean, it can feel like things are coming at you just 100 miles an hour. So both these programs are just a great way to kind of, you know, keep it all together, and someone to help you slow down that pace and just kind of take things, in a bite-sized manner to make it a lot more easier, the transition from high school to college, especially as an engineer here.
I'll say, as you come to college and you're gonna realize that you probably need help, or like you just need, as a freshman, you have questions that you have want to have answers to, and just having people around you have gone through similar situation, and who have gone through the same, like probably the same experience you're going through right now, who has been freshmen just like you. They provide advice and kind of like a different perspective for you, so it can help you with your transition from high school to college better.
I will say for me, I feel like, I did so well in high school and I didn't think college would be like a lot harder, but it was definitely a lot more challenging academically. And so just having that community of people who just were all in the same class as me and all dealing with the same thing really helped me make a lot of friends and connect with a lot of people. Also, there's not a ton of other women in my major, so but like through Galopecia, I met so many people that had the same interests as me and had the same class as me, so I was really able to form that community before really being exposed to, I guess, the gender disparity in engineering.
Yeah, I agree with all their answers. See, both programs, the Galopecia and the peer mentoring program, just helps you with a whole bunch of resources. Like you learn how to create a resume, how to talk to companies, getting involved on campus. So both programs having a mentor just helps you to aid in that transition from high school to college.
And yeah, so the transition becomes a lot easier because a lot of people, I'm sure, are coming to college and they don't really know anyone. So being in a community with like majors, or you know that everyone's in engineering, you can group up with people and make friends really easily and gain a lot of help through this community.
Yeah, similar to what Bud just said, I really liked being able to walk outside of my room at 2 in the morning and know I could knock on someone's door and they were also working on the same assignment as me. So I think that was a really good thing about living with people in my major or in the same classes I was in.
Okay. Thank you all for that. So we do have a question about the dorm life in Galileo and Hypatia, and the question is, how are the dorms in the LLCs? Like for Hogue, how is living in Hogue? Any
Okay,
takers?
so
Okay,
since I
thank you,
just
Sydney.
talked about it, I'll go first. Um, Hogue was an experience just because I had never shared a bathroom with anyone before. Um, so that was new for me, but I think overall it went really well. Like I just talked about, enjoyed having my friends. They were right next door, they were upstairs. There was always something to do just based on the group of people I was around. You always heard about something through one friend group or another. So I think that was really fun. And I still live with my freshman year roommate, so that's also a plus.
I was going to add on to that. Yeah, like Sydney said, there's almost always something to do. Every time you'd walk out your door, chances are you're probably going to run into someone you know, and you're just going to have a great time in the dorms. And living with a roommate is honestly a lot of fun, in my opinion. You can become great friends with your roommate and honestly just have a blast the entire year.
So Hug is a traditional dorm, and you definitely have roommates, and some people might not be used to it, but as you get to know your roommates, get to the first few weeks, getting to know them, sending boundaries and stuff, you get to realize that it's not as bad as you think it is. And like my roommate is, we are still friends till now. He's like one of my best friends, and when I met him, I didn't even know him for the first time, and we just had to kind of like just set rules and like just know what each other, what we wanted, and just basically set boundaries. So living in Hug as bad and everyone is sold is fun. You'll find something to do. Everyone is trying to get to know each other during the first week because no one really knows each other. But yeah, it was a great experience for me living in Hong.
Okay. Thank you for that. And we have two questions about the bathrooms in Hogue. Some of the other people can talk more about this. And one of them was how are the bathrooms in Galileo and Hypatia in Hogue, and then also how many students per bathroom. And so I can answer the second part of it. The bathrooms are per hallway, so the students share the bathroom who live on in that same hallway space. Depending on what floor you live on, there are if you live on like the male or female only, then there are two bathrooms on that floor. But if you live in on a co-ed floor, then one is reserved for men and then one is reserved for women. But if you want to talk Aswaria or Sydney or Shania, if you wanted to, I don't know, Emily, if you lived in Galopatia your freshman year, but if y'all want to talk about the experiences with how the bathrooms look and all of that stuff, you can go ahead and do that as well.
I can take that. Yeah. So it's about like 6 stalls per like side, and it's really not that bad. I feel like any dorm where you're sharing a space with someone is tends to get messy, but I feel like Hogue isn't exceptionally bad compared to every other dorm. I feel like there's a lot of like, I don't know, hate surrounding that, but I thought I'd be really uncomfortable with it at first when I first got here because I only ever shared a bathroom with my sister. And honestly, compared to that, Hogue was honestly better. Um, so I'd say it's not too bad. Just like respect your space and hope that everyone else respects their space. And if not, you can always call the RA. So it's not bad. Get a robe and get shower shoes, and you're pretty set.
Yeah, I agree. It isn't really that bad. Even though there are people who clean the bathroom like almost every day, still try to take after yourself and clean up after your mess. And also too, the water never really got cold or anything. So that's the plus of living like on a place with a shared bathroom. And I could say like sometimes the stalls are like pretty small, like it could be close to the shower curtain, but it's really not that bad.
And then the only thing I want to add to that is you do have a sink in your room. So it's not like you have to brush your teeth and everything in like the shared bathroom. And then with the shared bathroom, it's never like you're waiting in line for one of the stalls. Like there's plenty of space for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, everyone pretty much covered what I was going to say too. I don't. It really depends on like who's living in your hall too, and how messy it would get. But I mean, overall, it's not any different or any worse than any other dorm. I feel like Hogue does get a lot of hate, but it's a nice place, nice enough.
Yeah, so it's a shared amount in the hallway. It's not a suite style. And Hogue there was a question on here as well that asked if Hogue had the suite styles. They're completely just the regular two people to a room. So it's not the suite style rooms. Let's see. So the next question, is the CEED program grouped up based on major, intended major, or is it a combination of people from any major? So what we try to do is put the students together based on major. But if for whatever reason we are not able to do that, then we group the students based on their interests, having similar interests, especially for the groups of students who are in the more specialized or identity based. So best, west, and aura. That's how that particular portion of the program works. And Emily and Colby, can you all talk a little bit more about and Shania, I apologize, talk a little bit more about your experiences within the CEED Peer Mentoring Program as well, and how your groups and things worked?
Yeah. So for the groups, actually, what you'll find is that a lot of the people, like a lot of the other freshman year groups, will be a similar major for similar major as you, interest. So maybe I know that particularly as I was in industrial system, and I had a group full of computer science kids, which was great. I didn't know anything about computer science, but they were taking a couple of intro courses together, and they were able to do homework together. There's some good connections there. The program on a whole, we introduce you to all the different majors. So if you come in and you're like, maybe I'm set on this, you might change your mind by the end. We have a lot of different ways to connect you with different majors, and even if your mentor is not of the same major, there's going to be a mentor in the program that has your intended major. So we'll always put you a connection there. So
Yeah, and as far as like the different like subgroups with Best and West, we as peer leaders, we most likely try to get all of the freshmen their first choices for their groups. And so I feel like we do a good job of, getting those groups together and also having mentors also have those as their first choices. So the majors do cross over sometimes, but through personnel and everyone's interests, I think we do a good job of separating them into the preferred groups.
Yeah, I was a best mentor for 2 years. So that's the Black engineering support team. And I found that like really helpful for like the people that I was mentoring because going to PWI can be kind of scary as a minority. And being in best just helped to get you involved inside the Black community. And yeah.
Thank you for that. We have a question, an overarching question, and the question is: does CEED come under Galileo, Hypatia, Live and Learning Community, or are they separate? So the CEED as a whole is just one big center. So the Center for the Enhancement of Engineering Diversity, and underneath CEED we have the different programs. So we have the peer mentoring program, and then we also have Galileo and Hypatia. So while they're separate, we're all one big happy family, or we try to be one big happy family. So they're separate, but Galileo and Hypatia are more connected because they all live in the same residence hall on campus. And then also when it comes to the CEED peer mentoring program, and actually for the Galileo and Hypatia Live and Learning communities as well, one thing that we're going to try to do this year is actually allow for the students who are coming in to the programs to choose their mentor. We're going to get all of the packet together with all of the mentors, their names, a picture of them, what their interests are, what their major is, and all that stuff, so that the students can kind of try to get to know the mentors a little bit more. And then we're going to have the option for the students to choose who they would like to be their mentor. And this is a pilot program. We're going to see if it's going to work for both Galileo and Hypatia and the CEED peer mentoring program, just so we can see who chooses who and how those different groups will work. And I see that Albert is answering the question: if you apply to Galileo program, how are roommates selected? Essentially, with Galileo and Hypatia, you have the ability to either choose your roommate. Whenever you accept your offer for the program for either Galileo or Hypatia, you're sent a welcome email, and inside that welcome email, you'll have information on going to the Google Drive to see who's looking for a roommate, put your information in, what time you like to go to sleep, what your interests are, and all of that stuff. And then you can reach out to those different students who have already begun to put their information out there to see if you all connect. And then you all would have to both request each other on the housing documents or in the housing in StarRes. But if you don't have that option, or if you don't find somebody that you're going to connect with, you will be assigned a random roommate. And honestly, there have been times where people have chosen their own roommates and it's gone great, and then sometimes it's gone horrible, and then also vice versa, where a roommate was randomly selected and people are connected very well, and sometimes they don't connect. So you don't have to choose your own roommate, but you have that option too if you would like. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, someone asked how are they assigned. When you complete your profile on StarRes, other people complete that as well. And based on your interests, based on how compatible you are, they'll try to connect you with someone else that's around that same compatibility. But honestly, unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't always work like that. So it's going to be a random selection. Okay. So someone else asked, how does the student connect to a mentor in an LLC? I believe we kind of answered that. During the semester for all of the peer mentors who are in Galileo, Hypatia, and the CEED peer mentoring program, what we try to do is make sure that each week you all are meeting up with your mentors. So your mentor group will come together and figure out what day of the week and what time works best for the group as a whole or for the majority of people. And then you all will meet up at a designated area. And either that'll be your time to go out and eat somewhere in the Blacksburg area together on CEED, or you all can just have the weekly conversations about what's coming up, things to look out for, and kind of like just get to know each other. So can I have someone who was a peer mentor within Galileo, Hypatia, or the CEED peer mentoring tell more about those weekly meetings?
I can talk about that if you'd like. So I was a mentor for Galapatia, and I basically had a group of um, about like 10 to 12 students, and basically we just meet every week, and the program lasts for 10 weeks, and each meeting we just go through regular icebreakers, get to know each other. We do highs and lows and what they're looking forward to. And then I would help them either with their assignments for their Galapatia classes or just checking with them in general. Usually that served as a time for us all to connect together as a group. And I feel like my mentees specifically got very close. In fact, a lot of them are returning to the program, which I'm personally very proud of. Um, but yeah, so as a mentor, all I really served as was, an older person who knew what things to do, what they need to get done, and just reminding them of that, just being a presence in their life that they could turn to if they had any issues. And yeah, so it's just I think that we got pretty tight knit. And some of my mentees I only talked to for those 10 weeks, some I still stay connected with. And it really depends on what like level you want to connect with your mentor. I will say all the mentors are very qualified and they do a great job. So yeah, I think it's a great program and you guys should all join.
Yeah, to like those mentor meetings, I would like to call them like a productive break, because it's a good time in your week where you get to sit down with somebody that, and kind of not really think about school, but kind of just take some things in, talk to fellow classmates, maybe get some food that way. They're very relaxed, not super high pressure, so it's a good time just to kind of take a break throughout your week. The mentors are always, you can always text them, always reach out to them. They're always going to be available. So they'll never ignore you if you feel like you have to reach out to a mentor. They're gonna get back to you as soon as possible because they care about helping you.
And then I think Ashwarya and Colby covered the weekly meetings pretty well. I just wanted to add in there that your mentors should reach out to you initially during the summer before you even arrive on campus.
Definitely. Thank you for that, Sydney. So let's see. Someone has a question. How often do study groups meet in Galapatia? So within Galapatia, one of the committees that we have with the upper class leaders is the academic support committee. And essentially they have throughout the week study hours where students can come to a designated location, which is typically the Studio 2 on the second floor in Hogue, and that's a way for students to just come together and do homework either individually or come together as a group. If you all are having a big test and study for the big test as well. We also have test reviews that take place during the week, right before like some of the big common tests that happen like in chemistry and math and things like that. So we have frequent study hours throughout the week. And one thing that we are also going to do this coming year, is also set up different study groups specifically for certain classes. So the chemistry, chem lab, also the math class for those students who are taking the different maths and things like that. So there are several opportunities that are available throughout the semester, throughout the year, for you to get that academic support. So there's a question about the fees for the course. There is no additional fee for the course for Galileo and Hypatia. For the College of Engineering, there are academic fees that you have to pay. And if I'm not for sure how much that is, can someone let us know how much that the engineering fee is each semester?
Maybe 1,000 for the year.
Maybe $1,000.
For the year, maybe 500 a semester.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not too sure on that one, but that sounds about right. Like I know it's at least like a couple hundred a semester.
Okay.
I just checked recently I'm an in-state student and it's 2,000 for the whole year, so split 1,000 per semester. I think they recently like changed it because I think it used to be 1,000.
Okay. Thank you for that, Shania. And then I know that some people think that living in the LLC, you have to pay an additional fee. There's no additional fee to be a part of Galileo and Hypatia. That you're not going to see a different a line item on your bill that says Galileo or Hypatia fee. So everything is included within the community. Especially like if you want to use the material within the event studio and the different events that we have, everything is paid for unless we go somewhere super special, and there might be a little additional cost, but not that much. There's also a question in Hypatia. No biological males are allowed to use the dorms, the bathrooms, correct? So we do have certain bathrooms within the dorm for people who that are gender inclusive. So there are particular ones that are specifically for women and some that are particularly for men, but then there are also certain designated bathrooms on the different floors for co-ed bathrooms. Another question, do all students who request to join Galileo and Hypatia get accepted? No, there is an application process for both Galileo and Hypatia. We are currently open and accepting applications for those two communities. And what I will say is, especially for you Galileo students, because we have almost twice as many males to apply for Galileo than we do Hypatia. You want to make sure that you get your application in sooner rather than later. And then also you answer the question within the application. You completely answer that question. So there's a specific question that details why would you like to join Galileo or Hypatia, and then also how would you contribute to or learn from diversity within the community, and then what would you bring to the community? So you want to make sure that you answer that question fully. And that's what honestly trips some people up, is that they don't fully answer the question. And you can get as creative as you want, but just don't get so creative that you don't answer the questions. Because those questions are very important, especially to us, because we want to make sure that you understand what you're doing, what you're getting yourself into when you first come to Galileo and Hypatia, and then also with the CEED Peer Mentoring Program, right? Because we want to make sure that anybody who is a part of our community understands that we are accepting of everyone, no matter what their background is, and we are a very inclusive environment. So we don't want anybody to come out and think that we are just here for engineering students and that's it. You're going to learn about diversity and inclusion within the College of Engineering, within the university, and you're going to be put into places and spaces where the expectation is that you're learning about different people from different backgrounds. Somebody said, I applied using the form for people that haven't committed yet. Will that affect my chances? Honestly, it doesn't impact your chances. It's just a matter of making sure that you have answered those questions, and that this past Monday was the final day for you to be able to apply using that application. So from here on out, you will have to accept your offer to Virginia Tech in order to apply to Galileo and Hypatia. Also, can I apply again after committing if I don't get in? If you don't get in the first time, your application will not be reconsidered, unfortunately, because we have so many people who are applying, and we do keep track of the applications as they come in. So for Galileo and Hypatia, have the housing decisions for them been sent out? So we review applications on a weekly basis. The applications go out to a group of student leaders who they review the applications. I go into the system, or I try to go into the system every Monday and send out the applications for the review team to review them. But if you apply at 8:59 p.m. on Monday, your application is not going to go out for review until that following Monday. So I typically tell people that they want to give us at least 2 weeks before I start receiving all those emails about how long it's going to take, because this week I feel like we had at least 100 applications for Galileo and Hypatia, and that's on a weekly basis. So while we're excited to have you, getting 100 some odd emails about how my application is going is not conducive to being able to answer all of the questions and get the reviews done. So just be patient with us. That's all we ask. For Galileo and Hypatia, the deadline is for the applications, I believe the last Monday in May. Is the last time that I will review any applications. And then also the applications, the final decisions will be in no later than the 1st of June. And the applications for the CEED Peer Mentoring, the registration for the CEED Peer Mentoring program opens up at the beginning of June. And you all will receive information about that as well. Just like you all should have received the information once you accepted your offer or once you got your offer for Virginia Tech about the Galileo and Hypatia, you'll also receive that as well about the CEED Peer Mentoring program. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'll just say quickly that the CEED Peer Mentoring, there is an application, but you're automatically in. We don't make cuts for the peer mentoring. So you're automatically in. A couple application questions, you're in, put you with the group.
Yep, unless we get to a certain point of not having enough mentors for the people who are applying. So yeah. Thank you for that, Colby. Would it be too much to be a member of Hypatia and the mentoring program at the same time? So you will not be able to be a part of both Hypatia and the CEED Peer Mentoring, because within Hypatia, you will receive a mentor. In Galileo, you receive your own mentor. So it would be essentially doing the same thing twice for no reason. And with the Galileo and Hypatia course, it's required for you to have a mentor, and it's a part of your grade for the class that you take, the first year seminar course. All right. Also, if you're in the Corps of cadets, you're not allowed to be in Hypatia and Galileo. You would need to apply for the CEED Peer Mentoring program. And that's really because the Corps essentially is its own live and learning community. So they have their own class that they take, and all of that goodness. So if you're interested in being a part of anything within CEED officially, then you would need to join the CEED Peer Mentoring program. And we have several students who are a part of the Corps who are in in the CEED Peer Mentoring program. If you are a mentor in the future, would you live in Gallipatia? So it depends. If you are a first year student in Hypatia or Galileo and you want to return to the community the next fall, you will need to still live within the Galileo and Hypatia community. And if you want to become a mentor on top of being a returning student for Galileo and Hypatia, that's also something that you have the option to do, but you would still need to live inside of the community. But if you are interested in being a CEED Peer mentor, you won't have to live in the residence hall in Hogue.
I want to talk about that question a little more. So basically, if you apply to be a second year resident of Hogue, that they will give you upper class leader responsibilities. And just to clarify it a little, not all upper class leaders are mentors. All upper class leaders serve on a committee, and then when they apply, they have the optional choice to become a mentor. So that's why if you apply, you have to live in Hogue no matter what.
Thank you for that, Sydney. Are the LLC dorm charges similar to the non-LLC dorms plans? So the residence halls where the students live, it depends on the dorm that you live in. So there are some dorms who don't cost as much as others. So the dorms where they're community living, like you share a bathroom with the floor and all of that, like Hogue, like Pritchard and Slusher, those are less expensive than the newer buildings like CID, Pedri Yates, and all of that. So if you live in suite style residence halls on campus, then those are going to be more expensive than if you were to live in like a Hogue or a Slusher or a Pritchard hall. What percentage of a second year students who apply to live in Gallipatia are granted a second year within the community? Honestly, what I tell students is as long as you come to the community, you do what you're supposed to do, you're doing well in the class, you want to give back to the community, you're not a menace to society, you're not going around wreaking havoc all over campus, you're going to be accepted into the community as a returner. If unfortunately you have done some things that have gotten you in trouble, you won't be able to return. Unfortunately, there have become instances where students were granted the upper class leader position or to return to the community in 1 year, and then due to behaviors outside of Hogue or inside of Hogue, they were no longer allowed to come back to the community. And that doesn't happen all the time. It has happened a time or two. So as long as you do what you're supposed to do, you're productive in class, you're passing the first year seminar course, you're engaged in the community, you're not causing trouble on campus, off campus, then you will be invited back. And we want to make sure that we want more returners to come back so that the students who are coming in the following year will have that good experience of being a part of the community. So we want as many returners as we can get to come back. And the applications for the returners for all of the LLPs open in October of each year, and then you'll have a decision by the end of the semester, or actually before the end of the semester, on whether or not you can come back. All right. I think one last thing that I'll say, especially about the Galileo and Hypatia, the first year seminar course, I know that I did mention that. You register for that class in the fall semester. You go to the class each week up until, well, actually for this coming year, it's going to be throughout the semester up until reading day. But you take the class, you won't receive your grade for that class. You'll receive an I at the end of the first semester of the fall semester. And then in the spring semester, you'll also have the different networking experiences that you have to do as well. But you don't have to go to the class on a weekly basis. So that's the biggest thing about the Galileo and Hypatia first year seminar course. And each of you all, if you're invited to join and accept your offer to the organization or to the communities, you all will be batched or put into, depending on what your major is, the chem lab, the Galileo or Hypatia first year seminar course, and the engineering, the foundations of engineering class as well. All right, I don't see any more questions, so I will last call for any questions. If you have any questions or concerns about anything, you can feel free to email me. You can find me on the CEED website. That's CEED. Just Google Virginia Tech CEED, and you'll find our information, and you can get my contact information off there to ask any questions. And you can also get additional information about Galileo and Hypatia and the CEED Peer Mentoring Program there as well. You're welcome. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you all have a good night. I will give you back the last 6 minutes of the night.